In every community, there is a voice. In Milpitas, that voice is unique. That voice is diverse. That voice is innovative. That voice is expressive. That voice is multicultural. That voice is groundbreaking. That voice is thought-provoking. That voice is powerful. These are some of the residents from Milpitas who make up that voice. And they deserve a news source that will represent them to the fullest.
Hi everyone, my name is Rhoda Shapiro and we're here with the Milpitas Beats Unfiltered. Today we have our Milpitas Unified School District School Board candidates and I'm very happy to welcome you guys here. And I want to give a big welcome also to our host, Francie Soido. Enjoy the show.
Thanks, Rhoda. Welcome, good afternoon, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thanks. So I want to go over just a couple of ground rules first and then we'll go into some introductions. So make sure that you are mindful of the time and make sure you're mindful of each other. We want to hear from each of you and give each of you enough time to chat. So please talk one at a time, and you don't have to just address me. If you want to talk to each other, you're more than welcome to do that too. We have a free-flowing conversation going here. So let's do some introductions. I'd love to hear a little bit about you, and also if you can squeeze it into a minute or less, tell us why you're running for the Milpitas School Board. And I'll start over here.
Okay. My name is Amin Fazil, and I have been a Milpitas resident over 19 years. I have two daughters who are in high school, and I have been involved in community for the last 12 to 13 years since my kids were in kinder. And I'm running for school board because I want to be part of the solution. I want to be able to give back to community. And I was elected about 18 months ago. And I haven't been able to have a full term, so that's why I'm running for, so that I have an opportunity to continue what I started and get an opportunity for a full term to continue doing it.
Great, thanks, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Yip Chuan, and I have 3 daughters in the Milpitas Unified School District. 2 of them are in the elementary school, and 1 of them is at middle school. And the reason I'm running for school board is it started 2.5 years ago when my friend Denny Lau passed away. Before he passed away, he approached me and asked me to run for school board. And at that time, I was not ready because my youngest daughter was just entering kindergarten. So as a mother, we want to put our children first. So I made sure that she was going to be, fine in kindergarten. And then I made a commitment to myself, and I wanted to serve in our school district. So this is my opportunity that to run, and hopefully that we get to serve and make improvements to our school.
Great, thank you.
My name is Michael, and I'm running for school board because I believe our schools can do better and have to do better for the future of our students. Here in Silicon Valley, in Milpitas, we're at a crossroads. New technologies are coming out, and a lot of changes are happening that make things challenging for our students. Cost of living, cost of higher education keep going up. Jobs are becoming automated by new technology, and our students have to compete with people from all over the world for a limited supply of jobs and housing. The school board should adapt and improve to help students meet these needs. I'm a tutor. I run my own business and I have over 10 years of experience helping students meet their goals. In this time, I've seen where the public school system is working well, isn't working so well, and what students need to succeed and achieve their full potential. Through my tutoring, I've helped dozens of students, and now I want to help thousands of students, and that's why I'm running for Milpitas School Board.
Great, welcome, thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Well, my name is Chris Norwood, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you again, Milpitas Beat. I am currently on the school board. I've been on the school board for 3.5 years. And the reason why I'm running for re-election is because, frankly, I have unfinished business. When I first ran for school board, I ran on the campaign, The Future is Now. And it was really based on the fact that a number of the things that Michael said is correct. We are moving into we are in a global economy. There are competitive situations out there that we want the Milpitas children to be prepared for. And when I began on the school board, I began to understand what was needed in Milpitas so that we could reach those goals. A little bit about myself. I am a longtime Milpitas resident. I am a product of Milpitas schools. I also have run my own business, and I'm currently a systems administrator for Stanford University. So I'm very, very familiar with high quality education and where we want our children to grow. I also have 2 children that have been products of Milpitas schools, and I've had the opportunity through a number of different avenues, through the different schools, Joseph Weller, John Sinnott, Rancho, Thomas Russell, and of course Milpitas High, my alma mater, to have an impact. And I'm really excited about this opportunity to run for re-election, to continue the work that we've started, and to continue to make Milpitas the best school district in the Bay Area. Thank you.
Great. You guys are fantastic, keeping it nice and concise. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's talk about Measure AA. So Measure AA is going to be on the ballot in November, and that's going to potentially offer up $284 million to our school system. Anyone at the table opposed to Measure AA? Show of hands. Everyone for AA? So let's take some citizens that might be opposed to it. How would you convince them that Measure AA would be good for Milpitas schools? And that's open to anyone.
Well, sure, I'll start. First of all, can you give me a little bit of background as far as the citizen? What age? Do they have children in the schools? Can you give me a little scenario?
So the criticism that I hear is that no more taxes, right? So Measure AA would get its funding from increased property taxes. And so whenever you say increased taxes, that's already a red flag for residents. Another argument would be, we've already given the schools quite a bit of money. What have they done with that in the past? How do we know that the money that they get going forward is going to go towards the benefit of the school system?
Well, what I would do first is say, thank you for the concern, and I would say those are great questions. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can look at Measure AA. One, you can look at it as additional taxes, or you could look at it as an investment in the community. Milpitas has had a total of 3 bond measures in the history of the school district, 3, in comparison to a number of other school districts in the area. And one of the reasons why our property values are so high is because of the quality of our school system. So each time we've invested in school bonds for our children, our property values have increased. There isn't a better return on investment that you can get from having the school bond. Second, there's some realities going on. The hard reality is our school district is more than 50 years old. And so we do need to repair leaky roofs. We do need to fix concrete. We do need to do a number of things. And most importantly, if you drive around during the school time in the morning, there is overcrowding. So if you are a professional in the city of Milpitas, if you have children in the city of Milpitas, there are a number of reasons. And if you're a homeowner in the city of Milpitas, if you want your values, your properties to continue to increase, then Measure AA is something that you'll choose to vote for.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Sure. Michael?
Sure. I actually first urged the school board to expedite the bond measure back in May of this year. At that point in time, it had already been too late to put it on the June ballot. And for me, I think really, as Chris said, it's not so much a tax as it is an investment. And I believe that by whatever amount the property taxes go up, that's going to go straight back into property values because as Chris said, the better of school district, it's a key driver of the desirability of a community. More and more people want to move to Milpitas, and that's in part because Milpitas is reputed for having a fairly good school district. As to the criticisms, I've heard them as well. And frankly, there is some truth there because bond measures have been passed in the past, and the money seemed to go away quicker than expected with less bang for the buck than we expected. I've spoken with some members of the Citizens Oversight Committee, and frankly, they were a little dissatisfied with how that was managed. So I think going forward, I'm not a school board member now, but as a school board member, I would only make sure that every dollar is spent wisely, as well as promptly. So I'm an SAT tutor. And a lot of times when I work with students, I tell them, you got to focus on your speed and your accuracy. So on the one hand, the faster we get this money, the sooner we can apply it towards good uses. But the accuracy part also has to come into play. I believe if we had been more proactive about the bond measure and having a more robust community engagement process, our final product, the proposal, would be more accurate and more in line with what the community wants, and there would be less opposition generated.
Okay, great. Thanks, Michael. Over to you.
Yeah, I can actually understand that because I was one of the people who opposed it at first. And it was a tough decision, and I gave it a lot of thought. Our schools, do need the money to complete Matos, to finish that school, to expand our high school, to do major repairs. It's been a while since our district built another school. Like I said, I was on the fence at first because $284 million is a lot of money, and I didn't know where the money was going to go. I listened to the presentation, and I actually met with Wendy, who's our assistant superintendent of business, and she sat down with me and went over the allocation of money and told us that $284 million is not enough. They were able to look into other funds, and we tapped out on all the developers' fees. So knowing that helped me to understand why we need this money, okay? And, our students, they come first. It is hard for them to study, to focus in school when you have leaky roofs, a bucket there. Our students deserve to be in a safe and up-to-date learning environment. And as for those who don't have children in the school district or, still on the fence, I mean, being in the real estate profession, we know firsthand how schools, cities with top-notch schools will drive up your real estate, your real estate market, right? Sure. So Milpitas has that. We have the schools. I have buyers from Palo Alto, Fremont, San Jose, all over the peninsula coming in because they want to buy in Milpitas because of our schools. And they're driving up our prices. So this bond will help increase the value in their homes. They can look at it as an investment. So after careful consideration, I have endorsed this bond.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great comments, everyone. So I'll just add to it saying that Measure AA will definitely increase value of the property in Milpitas. Our Milpitas education system is great. Our school district is great. And you're right, a lot of parents, a lot of people from Cupertino want to move here because we have such a good school board, such a good unified school district. And the reason is because we all work together. We are not against each other. We kind of work very well together. So yes, people who have concern about the $284 million, it would increase their property value. But at the same time, we are investing in our future. So our kids, our schools, which are old, like 50 years old, which need fixing, this will definitely help. And the high school where we could get a second campus of high school, that would definitely help, as well as finishing up our elementary school. And to top of that, the safety and security of our school.
Sure.
So, and as far as the oversight committee for last bond, our oversight committee was very good, and they asked a lot of tough questions why we were spending that money.
Sure.
So the plan is always there where we're going to spend it with the same thing with this current bond, with the AA bond. We have a plan what we're going to spend it on, and our oversight committee will be responsible making sure that we are sticking with the plan and the timeline.
And you mentioned, a couple of you mentioned transparency. So how will you make it transparent to the average citizen that these dollars are going to A, B, and C?
So I'll say our website right now for the bond, it breaks down what the expense we need to spend, or what percentage we need to spend on what category, the safety, the high school, as well as the maintenance piece, right? So when we have finalized numbers, and we'll have our director of facilities working with each school to make a list of what's the priority, because obviously $284 million is not enough to fix all the schools. right? So we'll have a priority list on the website, which will break down exactly what are we going to spend and when will we start the project. So when we get the funding available, we have certain things we're going to work on immediately so that we don't have to wait for a long time to work on it.
Got it.
And just to add to that, the reason we went for bond in November is because the expense in June would have been more versus in November, as well as the statistics stated that November would be a better choice because during June time we have folks who may not allow us to pass the bond.
Got it. Okay.
So
Francine, what happened was there was quite a bit of polling that was done in terms of when we should go, and that polling began last summer, so the summer of 2017.
Okay.
And so, 2018. This past summer, and we've been polling for approximately 9 months of when to go to the polls. And what we discovered as far as there are different types of voters that vote during election time in November and also during the June timeframe.
Okay. Great.
And the information that got brought back to us by our consultant, who's been doing this for over 35 years, was that the best opportunity was to do it in November. There's also one point that I'd also like to bring to the table. When we think about $284 million, yes, it is a very, very large price tag. But part of the reason why we're dealing with that price tag now is you think about the drivers of property values, the technology companies that are in the area, the cost of construction. So we have we're competing for the same type of work that Apple, Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn are getting. So the cost of construction is being driven up by the technology companies in the area. So that gives us a different type of price tag. In addition, the state requirements for education are significantly higher than it is if you're building an apartment complex or a housing complex or something like that. So we have higher things. Why? Because we're dealing with the safety and security of our children. We're dealing with future generations. We have to make sure the soil and everything is taken care of for many, many years to come. So there's a lot of reasons behind that $284 million price tag. And what I'm hopeful for is that more citizens of the community will get involved. They'll come to the school board meetings, they'll visit the website, because there's a lot of information out there that folks aren't necessarily doing the research on. And if they're willing to reach out to any of the existing school board members to follow up on that, I'm sure we can answer their questions.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
Anything else to add, Kelly or Michael, on that topic?
I mean, for the school bond, I definitely would like to get community input, get different groups, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
We wanted to make it as transparency as possible. Hopefully that more people will come to the school board meeting, just get involved. We want to hear your input. Where is the money needed most? That's very important.
Okay, great. Michael, anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. I feel like polling aside, there's never a reason not to be proactive about strongly maintaining open channels of communication with the community. Yes, it can be done through PTA meetings, but there's a lot of folks in the community who don't necessarily go to a PTA meeting. So I think we should broaden that outreach and have a lot of transparency and community engagement, because that's really the foundation of trust that needs to be built before we can keep going around asking for money.
Okay, great. So you guys also brought up a second high school. So that's a huge topic of discussion, especially with the mayoral candidates that we just had a few hours ago. So would any of that money go towards starting a second high school?
So I'll start with the question. So currently the Air site, which was a high school, so Milpitas used to have two high schools.
Right.
There was Air, that was on the corner of Park Victoria and Calaveras, and then there was Milpitas High School.
So the Calaveras Hills you're talking about now.
Where
Right.
now the campus where Calaveras Hills is hosts the district office, Calaveras Hills High School, and also the adult high school.
Ed, right.
Also is property or the sports center, which is run by the city. So that would be the site where we would have the second high school or the second high school campus, which would be an extension of Milpitas High School. Why? Because one of the issues that we put on the ballot for this bond is overcrowding. And we look at the number of students at Milpitas High School, and we have the opportunity to alleviate some of that 3,200 students, actually it's 3,300. And with a second high school campus, the extension of Milpitas High School being hosted at the Air Park or the Air facility will reduce overcrowding in the area, but also open up new pathways or educational pathways for that community. So we see the second high school campus an extension of Milpitas High School, extension of STEM opportunities, extension of improving the economics in that area as well.
Okay, great. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I agree that the high school is overcrowded. That's certainly one of my priorities in running for school board. It's been overcrowded for quite some time. As Chris stated, Milpitas High is operating significantly in excess of the capacity that it was designed for. Now, in terms of alleviating that and opening a second high school, much of the talk now is centered around moving activity to the current Ayer site and maybe moving the district office somewhere else, moving Calaveras Hill somewhere else. And I think there's actually a lot more, it's a much more complicated and challenging issue than it might appear on the surface. I feel like there needs to be more community input, a more robust community discussion process, because when I talk to folks, some people have said, yeah, second high school, but for various reasons, the Ayer site might not be such a great idea. And I'm like, okay, so let's talk about alternatives. And I think there are fruitful discussions to be had there. And I think that's something we need to drive forward as a community.
Great, thanks.
Yes, last year I voiced about my concern about the high school, the overcrowding issue. That school was built for 1,700 students, and now we have 3,300 students plus,
Almost doubled, yeah.
right? So putting more classrooms or portables on campus is just a temporary relief and not a solution. I'm going to have to put my children through that school. So I want to make sure that that money is going to be used to alleviate the overcrowding. And, you know, having this high school or the expansion of the high school is going to help us maybe take, 400 to 500 students off of the main campus.
Is that enough?
No, actually the number is higher. The number is higher because there's already some things in process, but I'd like to let Kelly finish what she's saying, then I'll add to that.
Yeah. So when I spoke with our superintendent, you know, she mentioned at least 400 to 500 students off the main campus.
Would go to Air, Calaveras Hills.
Yeah. And I think they're going to start with like maybe ninth graders or so. So for me, it's like, you know, you putting more bodies or more building onto the campus is not a solution. It's just like packing on more sardines in a, you know, in a can, and that's not acceptable for me. Like I said, I'm sending my 3 children through Milpitas High School, so we must do something now, and this is the right opportunity using our school bond to expand the high school.
Okay, great, thanks. Come in.
So I'm just going to highlight. So second high school is great and it will happen. But what I want to highlight is the overcrowding piece, right? Yes, the current high school was built for 1,700 kids. We are at 3,300 kids. All the kids in the high school have an opportunity to sit in a classroom on a desk and study. So yes, we have portables. We have added more portables. So at the end of the day, all the kids have opportunity to have one teacher to 25 to 30 kids ratio, right? We don't have kids sitting on the floor. So I just want to make sure that's understandable and it's very clear. The other part is that, yes, it's going to be between the second high school campus will have between 400 to 800, depending on how we work the schedule. So different ideas have come up, and community will get involved once bond passes to decide how would we do it. Do we do a dual schedule? Do we do a later start? So that's going to be community involvement, because that's not going to be just a board decision. It's going to be community involved, and that part is very important. So all the decisions we make where we decide where if we're going to go for the bond or if we're not going to go for the bond, community involvement was already done. So we did a lot of community events where we got feedback from community about the bond. We got the community feedback about what do you think needs to happen with your particular school where your child goes. So those events, those meetings were done. We did several meetings, not just with community, with the teachers and the staff. So yes, maybe not all the staff got opportunity to talk about, but everybody got opportunity to participate in the surveys.
They were invited to the table.
Everybody was invited to the table.
Okay, great.
And we had, I believe, I attended about 4 of the community events. And yes, we had people who were there for all 4, same people. But
And that's a great point. We do have, I don't know if you've heard the phrase, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. And we do have a lot of the same people coming to the meetings, voicing their opinions about the future of education in Milpitas. And we continually try to find different ways to reach out to those different communities. And I will admit, as a current school board member, one of our biggest challenges is how do we reach our new communities? How do we reach all of the residents in Milpitas that want to be involved and not have these drive-by conversations in a way? We put it on the website. We send out emails through the newsletter. We work with the Milpitas Beat now. There's a number of different things that are going on in terms of this outreach. But this is obvious, even from this forum, that this is an ongoing discussion. And I'd like to circle back on one of the points that you brought up about the Oversight Committee. One of the things that the Oversight Committee shared with us, this board, because we were not a part of the previous bond when all the decisions were made, that they shared with this board was that they didn't have enough say. They didn't have the ability to, if they felt that something wasn't going in the right direction, to have input. So one of the policies that we passed less than a month ago was the ability for the new Oversight Committee, one, to be able to speak directly to the board, because there was I don't want to say a bridge or a wall, but they did not speak directly to the board about the issue that they were concerned about. All we could see them was at the board meetings. But after the fact that the bond was taken care of, they said, this is what we'd like to see in the next, as part of the next bond process. Sure. So we immediately realized that that was one of the areas that we needed improvement. Also, we've put out plenty of news about the Bond Oversight Committee. When the bond passes, we'd like a Bond Oversight Committee. And surprisingly enough, to have a school district with 10,300 students, the ability to get people involved, except for those in the PTA, is a struggle. And so I'm excited about being here. I'm excited about the candidates for this forum because we're getting a message out there that this is the schools in Milpitas belong to the community, and if the community wants to say, we're more than willing to entertain and have opportunities for the committees. Amin had mentioned we've held a number of meetings over the past year in their behalf, and we're going to continue to do so.
Okay, great.
And I was just to add to that, I mean, I've been involved in PTA for a long time, and yes, that's a lot of avenues I go to where I want to reach out to parents and families to come and participate. And same concept, currently we have a bond committee who is supporting. We have parents who are in PTA, and they are bringing a lot more parents to give us the feedback, what's working, what's not working. Currently, where superintendent goes and presents at the school district, at the school's different sites, parents who are normally not participating in PTA are showing up to attending because they want to understand where the money is going to go.
Great.
And those parents we are capturing, at least I am asking them to come and attend more because their feedback is very crucial. And yes, we were not there. I was not there when the last bond happened, but I definitely will be there for the next one, and I'm going to go for it. We want to make sure everything happens the right way we need to do.
Well, and parents are busy these days. You know, they can't make every meeting, they can't make every conversation. Are there opportunities for them to let their voices known kind of offline, surveys or other modes of communication?
Yes, so we have a survey. We have a school survey which goes out, but yes, we will put something together for surveys as far as parents to participate. Also, we have email. They can reach out and say, I can't attend this meeting. Can we meet up on another time? And we, as a board member, are always available to talk to parents because we understand that it's hard. People can't get there at 6 o'clock if you're working in Sunnyvale to cross the 237.
Right.
So, I mean, we will have multiple time slots when the time comes, and we are available till late at night to talk to people.
And I mean, as a reminder, last year we began to move the school board meetings. So in the history of Milpitas, last year under our watch, we decided to bring the school board meetings out to the community. So the last school board meeting was hosted at Milpitas High School. There are 4 times per year, and that number may increase, it may not, because there is something about the boardroom where we have all the facilities and amenities that are used to. But we've hosted at Zanker, we've hosted at Randall. We've hosted at Milpitas High School several times. Yep. So we're also trying to do our part on the outreach to bring these messages to the community as well.
Great. Great discussion. Anything else to add, Michael?
Well, I mean, that gets into the theme of communication. And while what Chris and Amin said sounds good, that they are putting out these efforts, ultimately, it's the community that decides if these efforts have been sufficient or not. And while I have no doubt that these efforts are definitely well-intentioned and in the right direction, unfortunately, sometimes it's caused maybe some more confusion than clarity. Chris mentioned, moving the meetings around to try and reach different parts of Milpitas. And while I think that's a great intention, I think when that happened, there were maybe some lapses in communication where some residents felt like they weren't given enough notification, like they showed up to the wrong place only to find out it was being held somewhere else. I'm specifically thinking back to a meeting at Zanker that I attended where one leader in the community, Reverend Jethro Moore, I'm not saying I agree with this, but he accused the school board of trying to hide the meeting by moving to a different location to avoid a controversial subject. Now, whether that's true or not, I think what it shows is that there's a gap in communication and understanding, and that while the school board, I have no doubt, has good intentions, that those intentions may not always be effectively conveyed to the community, and that's unfortunately something that's caused some distrust and friction, and I want to work to rebuild that.
Okay, great. Anything else to add?
No, I mean, I understand what Michael is saying, because actually a few times I've actually showed up at the district office for the school board meeting, and there's a notice on there. So I wish there was more of some kind of better communication, maybe. But I totally understand what you guys are doing, and I'm for it. But I guess the communication, somehow it was cut off, and for me to show up at the school board meeting when it's at school or something like that.
I agree, and as you talk about this point, and I hear the things that you're saying, well, we know that there are 3 seats, and we have 4 candidates. So one of the things that we'll all learn, if whether Amin and I are reelected or one of you are reelected, is that you'll realize that, as Francina said, the communication is difficult. We put the message out. We continually put the message out, and we do it with the proper intent. And however people want to take that intent is up to them. One of the things you're going to learn is that you're not going to be able to please all the people all of the time. We talked about how do we get the word out. We talked about more people attending school board meetings. We talked about not being just in a room, because if we are a culture of we, then the school district and the school board has to be willing to go out to the community. And then we have received feedback that, well, I wish you hadn't moved the meetings. But then we've also received feedback like, I've never been to a school board meeting before, and thank you for bringing it to my school. Or the principal saying, that I appreciate you coming into my community because it lets them know that you care about them. So there's, I don't want to say 6 of one or half a dozen of the other. And if the community decides that, we want the school board meetings to stay at the district office, and if they feel that that's what's best, I'm fine with that. But the fact that if we didn't give it a try, if we didn't go out and try to say we're trying to do all that we can on behalf of the students and their parents, because yes, it is easier to walk from your home, because the majority of our schools are built in communities where you can walk to school, versus get home, feed your children, and then try to drive over to the district office to participate. Right. So again, we're going to continue to try, and as whoever gets selected for the board, I'm not a shoo-in for re-election, so I'm just believing in the fact that we're going to continue to push forward, to innovate, and always to try things and saying on behalf of the community and not just because of ourselves.
Great.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm not putting it down or anything like that. I think you have great intentions, but I think this. For me, I didn't like also being in a different facility, because certain presentations, you need the boardroom. And it was just hard to see. I remember when our demographer, Tom Williams, had some stuff to present, and it was just really hard to sit in the back and trying to read the numbers when, it was all crooked.
Yes.
So, but I think I mentioned that too as my feedback. I mean, I love it that, the intention was there. But just, I guess,
and it continues
the
to
facility
improve.
Wasn't, great for that. So maybe we should communicate how we're going to, do the presentation at which facility.
And we appreciate that feedback, because, not doing the meeting at the boardroom we don't get to stream live. Our school board meeting in Milpitas, we streamed on YouTube this Tuesday.
past time. We passed. So before,
we are trying to figure out how to reach to parents who are not able to make it. And our intentions are, again, high intentions. We want everybody to participate. When we see a full house at the school board meeting, I am excited because it makes me happy because I see the parents who have never been there are there.
That's great.
So definitely, thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've got about 2 minutes left. So I want to give you each an opportunity to answer this final question. You ready?
Yes.
Why should Milpetians vote for you? And since we started here, we're going to start here on this side.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Okay. So I'll say this. Leadership matters. Experience matters. Relationships matter. Results matter. I'm a product of Milpitas community and the schools. I'm a parent, business owner, volunteer, coach, mentor, fundraiser. I build bridges, not walls. I have real relationships at the county level, the city level, the state level, and the federal level. That was seen when we did the Milpitas community talks around school and gun safety. I have relationships with funders. I've been fundraising for the district. And most importantly, I'm committed not only to our children, but I'm committed to the adult learners. And when I think about the school bond, and I think about the possibilities and the fact that our adults have to reinvent themselves as well, I'm very mindful of that as well. And that hasn't had a chance to surface yet because right now we're focused on our children, but we can't forget about our adults that are transitioning in their careers. We need to be able to educate them as well. So I feel that my reelection will allow us to continue on some of the things that we're developing, to tweak some of the things that are not quite working right, like moving the school board meetings are right, but you'll always know that my heart is right. You'll know that I'm in it for the community, that I'm in it for the children, and I'm in it for the success of the teachers, the classified workers, and everybody that wants to be involved in the Milpitas Unified School District.
Great.
Vote for Chris Norwood. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Michael?
So here in Silicon Valley, we see so many changes, and there's really just a wealth of opportunity facing all of our students and all of our families. And we only need to reach forward and seize it and really help our students be prepared for this digital economy. In 2014, I was named by Mark Andreessen, who is the founder of Netscape and a prominent venture capitalist, as one of his Twitter rock stars for thought leadership. And I want to bring that experience and these new ideas, fresh energy, to the Milpitas Unified School District. Are we going to be a community that's going to adapt successfully to the digital revolution? Or are we going to be one of the many communities in America that gets left behind? We need to do more to prepare our students for the careers of the new economy and the dynamic thinking those roles are going to require. My years of tutoring experience means I'm on the forefront of this wave. I'm constantly keeping abreast of educational trends, technology trends, workforce trends, so our students can be thinking 5 years ahead and have solid roadmaps and be solidly prepared for what they need to do. Right now at our high school, students are only limited to 3 AP courses. I think as a tutor and a college admissions prep coach, that's putting our students at a disadvantage when they're applying to top universities. And I want to raise that limit and help our school district achieve the highest levels of performance. Some schools in our district are still rated 4 out of 10. I look over at Cupertino, where every single school is rated 10 out of 10. I look at what we have to work with here in Milpitas. We have great school staff, great students, teachers, parents who care. I see no reason why Milpitas can't also be like Cupertino, one of the best school districts in Santa Clara County. I'm preparing for the future, and we all need to prepare for the future. Google is going to come to San Jose in the near future. I'm thinking about a future where, what if students graduating from Milpitas High today can go off to college, get into a great university, and come back and start working for Google in San Jose and really be part of that Silicon Valley dream? We have so many opportunities here. As a tutor and college and career prep coach, I'm always working with families to help the students succeed, and that's why I'm running for Milpitas School Board.
Great. Thanks, Michael.
Milpetians. I'm a mother of 3 young children. I'm an educator. I'm a business owner. I'm an involved parent, and I'm well connected to our business community. I serve as the corporate secretary and an ambassador for the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce. I'm currently serving as the PTA board, and I'm the president-elect of the Milpitas Rotary Club, where I am currently an active member. My business experience will be an asset to Milpitas Unified School District. With my leadership and passion to serve in our public school, Milpitas will benefit tremendously. Milpetians, this is the type of leadership that our community needs. Vote for Team Kelly. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Good job. Milpitas community, I was appointed 18 months ago, and I had to fill in big shoes, Danny's shoes. And thanks to the board who decided to appoint me for that opportunity, but I still have not had chance to do a full term. And the reason I want to continue doing this is because I want to give back the community. I want to be able to help community and collaborate with everybody. So give me an opportunity to do my full term and help the teachers, students, and everybody in the community, bring them together to Milpitas Unified. So vote for Amin.
Great. Thank you each for coming and spending your time with us, chatting with the Milpitas Beat.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good
That
job.
concludes our Milpitas School Board candidate board communication. And coming up next, we've got Assembly Member Bob Brunton. So stay tuned. Francie Soito signing off for the Milpitas Beat. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.